Previously on Phoenix Wright, Trials and Tribulations.
It's true that I was the one who attacked Maya Fey, but even so, the murderer who actually snuffed out Misty Fey's life was none other than your darling little Maya.
There's only one possibility left. Namely, she's right here in this very courtroom.
What?
My face in here? You say she's here in my courtroom? Dahlia Hawthorne. The person channeling you right now must be Maya Fey. Oh, that's creepy as shit. Whoa!
Dahlia sucks. She really, really sucks. Dahlia sucks. She really, really sucks.
Maya! You're back!
Hello, I'm Unca Crunk. Welcome back to Phoenix Wright.
And we are returning to the trial. And Maya's awake. Now then, before we proceed any further, I'm going to announce the results of the test we had performed earlier.
Tests? Oh yeah, that.
Yes, tests. On the bloody dagger that was found stuck in the pine tree.
Oh yeah, that.
I totally forgot about that.
I didn't.
That's the weapon that Maya Fey used when she fought with the victim.
So, what are the results? Was it the victim's blood, or...?
Due to time constraints, a full test was impossible. However, there's one thing we can say with certainty. The blood that was on this dagger was not the victim's blood.
Probably Maya's, then?
That is all. Now then, let's restart this trial.
Wait.
Could just ask if Maya's been injured. So it wasn't Misty's blood on the dagger. Then whose was it? I'm sure both the defense and the prosecution know this, but this trial is rapidly coming to a close. Both sides will need to show some firm evidence with their claims.
I understand, Your Honor.
From what I've heard, the witness is dangerously weak, physically speaking, so let's finish this quickly.
Agreed. Need to get a burger inside her quickly.
Very well, please bring in the last witness.
Hi, Maya. How you feeling?
Witness, please tell us your name and profession.
Maya Fey. My profession is, I'm the assistant manager at Wright & Company Law Offices.
Maya? According to the magazine I have here, you're a spirit medium of the Korean channeling technique.
I'm frightened. The Fey clan, I don't want any more to do with it.
Oh, Maya. The pain of the Fey bloodline causes must be unbearable. Very well. Now then, Miss Fey. When the event occurred, you were in the garden of the inner temple. And you witnessed the moment of Ms. Elise Denham's murder. Is this correct?
I didn't see any...
Straighten up this instant, young lady.
Dad?
Pick your head up and speak clearly. There's always time for crying later.
But
Your mother was killed right in front of your eyes. There's nothing you can do to change that fact. But there's something you can do. You can finish this. You've been watching the whole thing, right? You've seen the witnesses come out, and you've seen us squeeze the truth out of them. Now it's your turn. Let's hear your testimony. On the night of the crime, What exactly did you see happen? Witness, if you please.
I have an interjection. While she was channeling Dahlia, she wouldn't have been conscious of anything that was going on around her, so she hasn't seen any of this trial. Yes, Your Honor. You know, Morgan's probably going to get what she wants anyway. I think Maya might step down voluntarily just because she's so done with all this interfamilial nonsense. At the inner temple, I was passing through the garden on the way to a spare prep room when it happened. Suddenly, someone struck me over the head. I stumbled and ended up against the stone lantern. I think I screamed, "Help me." Then something warm splashed over me. That's when I lost consciousness.
So you were struck on the head. I suppose it must have been the staff.
Maya, the person who hit you. It was Dahlia Hawthorne, wasn't it? I'm sorry, Nick. I couldn't see. I don't know who it was. Maya, think hard. Sorry, Nick, but I really couldn't.
Huh. Can't say it was an especially good night for young ladies to be walking around alone. It seems that it will be hard to determine the criminal through testimony alone. Very well then, Mr. Wright, please begin your cross-examination.
Oh, Maya, hang in there. She doesn't look well at all. I'm sorry, Maya, but I'm going to have to press on everything. I was passing through the garden on the way to a spare prep room when it happened. Who else was on the inner temple side that night? Well, Sister Bikini, of course. But I remember her saying that Iris would be coming later as well. On the day after the incident, Edgeworth met Bikini at Hazakura Temple. That means she couldn't be the criminal. So then, did Iris actually come later like she said? Well, let me think. She seems confused. It's really because she's so tired. Did anyone give her a hamburger? No. I'm sure I didn't see her. And yes, they gave me a hamburger, Phoenix. You can stop worrying about that. Thank you. She must have come while I was preparing for the training. Suddenly, someone struck me over the head. Who did it? Who hit you? Why are you shouting? Sorry. I didn't see who it was. I was there from behind. You didn't see the person? But after that, your attacker was in front of you. How could you not see who it was? Nick! Stop shouting at Maya! Let me think for a sec. I'm sorry. I just can't remember. Maya's really having a hard time. What should I do? Damn it. I usually press harder, but. I'll leave her alone. Considering the conditions at the crime scene, it's not surprising she didn't see her attacker. Huh. So it looks like even you've got some compassion. Yeah, it's my, Judging by the testimony thus far, the identity of the attacker was most likely the spirit that was channeled by Elise Denham, Dahlia Hawthorne. Very well, please continue with your testimony. What happened after you were struck on the head? I stumbled and ended up against the stone lantern. What happened afterwards? My attacker was in front of me, blocking off my escape. I think. You think? After getting hit like that, I was in a state of panic. There were only two things rolling around my mind at that time.
Well, now, this is beginning to get interesting.
So what were the two things rolling around inside your mind? My name is Maya Fey. 1 + 1 = 2. What? You see, for some crazy reason, I was afraid I was going to lose my memory. Oh. I know it's odd considering my life was in danger, but that's how it was.
That's not odd at all. Your actions are understandable given the circumstances. And, your acquaintanceship with somebody who has previously had amnesia from a blow to the head. So, what did you do then?
I think I screamed, "Help me!" You think you screamed, but you're not sure? Listen, I was a complete wreck. It was dark and I couldn't see my attacker. Was it a man, a woman, an adult, a child? I had no idea. I was scared out of my wits, Nick.
Believe me, my dear, I'm certain I would have soiled my robes.
I thought this person might attack me, so I. Anyway, I'm pretty sure I screamed. I thought it was my last hope. Wow. Sounds like poor little Maya really was out of her mind. But I wonder what she meant by last hope. What do? Do I press her for more details? Wait and see. Maya's really emotionally and physically exhausted. Shouldn't go overboard. For the time being, I'll just play it by ear.
All right then, witness, go on with your testimony.
Oh, okay. Then something warm splashed over me. Yellow mean, what's it? I didn't know it at the time, but I think it was probably blood. She's saying that's when Miss Denham, who was channeling Dahlia, was stabbed in the back by the killer? At that moment, I was paralyzed with fear. I was just sitting there in the snow. I'm sure blood got on everything around me. That's when I lost consciousness. So what happened next? I don't remember.
How were you saved? You don't even remember that?
No. I haven't got any idea. Really don't know what happened at all.
Well, that's too bad.
I've worked side by side with Maya for 2 years now. You can tell when she's trying to hide something by how she acts. Right now, I'm absolutely certain she's hiding something. Well, nuts. Okay, so I need to press harder on something. Was it this one? Yeah, it was this one. Okay, let's see. But I wonder what she meant by last hope. What do? Do I press her for more details? What's this last hope you're hoping for? What? What do you mean by your last hope? No. That's what you said. You said my last hope. Huh? What? I said what now? Look, you were facing an attacker that you couldn't see and you screamed, right? You screamed, "Help me." Yeah. But you testified that you screamed because you thought it was your last hope. Oh, well, that's like, what do you call it when that happens? Maya's not doing so well up there. Oh, yeah, oh, that's right. I remember now. I was facing my attacker, but that's not who I was screaming at. What did you just say? Yeah, that's right. It was the person behind my attacker that I was yelling at. That's who I was screaming to for help. What? Ah! What is it now? I messed up. I didn't mean to let that slip out. Huh?
Witness, are you absolutely sure of what you're saying? Behind the attacker, there was another person.
I am, well, I meant to keep that part secret. What have I done?
Huh. It takes a ton of pressure to make a diamond. That's what I always say.
A ton of pressure.
You're in a court of law here. Can't make things up or try to hide things in this chamber. Witness, the information you just presented is vital to the case. I want you to add it to your testimony.
Okay, who is behind you?
What?
I could see a man behind my attacker by the light of the stone lantern.
A man? Who is this man?
You see, I couldn't see.
You couldn't see. She's used this excuse twice now.
Well, you know, lantern light isn't very, very bright.
Lantern light, did you say?
There's a great big stone lantern in the garden, but it wasn't lit. They always light it when the Unca light is there for training. Hey, you know what they say, under the lantern, darkness reigns. So I could see the person that was further away, but not my attacker, who was closer. Plus, there weren't any other light sources in the garden at the time. Yeah, there were.
All right, hang on. The lantern was not lit. But I think the torches were? So there was a man standing behind your attacker.
Yeah.
That man, he's the killer. He stabbed her from behind. Hang on. Okay. The only man that was missing the next day, aside from Phoenix, who was in the hospital, was Godot. But why would Godot be there to begin with? He's the one who killed Elise Denham, otherwise known as Misty Faye, your mother.
The killer.
Maya, you know who killed your mother, don't you? What is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright? To be frank, Your Honor, I think she is in shock and quite confused. I think she's protecting the man who saved her life. That's why she hasn't noticed the huge problem with her testimony.
Huh? What do you mean? What problem?
On the night of the crime, that stone lantern was out of commission.
Huh? What?
It's true. There was no light anywhere in the garden that night. Well, the torches were lit.
No!
Order! Order in the court! Mr. Godot, explain this! Add the pureness of milk to the perfect clear darkness of coffee. Stir. That is the state of the witness's mind right now. A cup of cafe au lait. Cafe au lait? Is that even legal? Mr. Tratt's words are the milk and you are the spoon, Your Honor. I'm a spoon? I'm no spoony bard, I'll have you know. Oh, you mean like a little spoon? Yeah, I'm a little spoon. Definitely a little spoon. You must have noticed it too, Tratt. This witness's mental state is highly unstable right now. It's not hard to understand why she would make a little mistake like that. Sorry, but that's not gonna cut it. What did you say? If there truly was no light in the garden, then there's a fatal contradiction in the witness's last bit of testimony.
Nick?
May I? Recall the witness's statement about her attacker. She said that she didn't know if it was a man or a woman, an adult or a child. And yet, the witness could describe a person that was standing behind her attacker. She quite clearly described him as a man. In other words, that would have to mean that Maya actually saw our mystery person, despite it being so dark that she couldn't see the face of her own attacker.
No! No.
Order! Order! What in the world does this all mean, Mr. Wright? Are you saying Ms. Fay saw the real killer under pitch black conditions?
Objection!
Tratt, do you have any idea what you're proposing? How could she have seen in the dark? There's no other light source at the scene.
Objection!
There are some things that you can only see in the dark, Mr. Godot. Maya, you did see who the killer was in the dark. And now, you're trying to cover for him. Cover? For the man who killed her mother? There's only one conclusion I can draw from this. You know who this man is.
Please, Nick. I don't know anything. Please, I'm begging you.
Huh. You talk a good game, Tratt. Let's see if you can walk the walk. It's pitch black, so what could the witness see? I'm calling you bluff.
Wait, the torches were lit, weren't they? Could have sworn that the torches were lit. No, Nick, don't. Please stop.
Maya's dead set on protecting this guy. The man who murdered Maya's long-lost mother, he also saved her life because her mother was currently possessed by Dolly Hawthorne. But I can't let him get away with it.
Why not?
I'm a lawyer, an officer of the court. I'm here to find the truth. All right, Mr. Wright. Time to show us what you've got. Who was this person that you say Ms. Fay saw in the darkness?
I mean, it could only be him, right?
Every other male on this list was present the following day. Because it was pitch black, Ms. Fay was able to recognize the killer easily. I'm sure the court would like to see for itself how this is possible. Yes? What? But how do you propose to show us something like that? It's easy. We just need to recreate the conditions of that night. Conditions?
Your Honor, the defense officially requests that all the lights in this courtroom be turned off.
Well, this is... But it can't be.
Huh. That's a nice bit of deduction. Try it. Well, everyone, this is the man Maya saw on the night of the murder. Now, a few weeks ago, I jokingly titled an episode Godot's Villain Origin Story. Didn't mean it literally. Also, I don't think he's a villain. I think he was protecting Maya.
Order! 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 Prosecutor Godot, what is the meaning of this? Surely you must be shocked to hear yourself accused of such a thing. Why aren't you denying it?
Huh. Your Honor, you're asking the wrong person.
What do you mean by that?
If you've got a question, ask the witness. It's one of my rules. Well, Maya, how about it? What you saw that night? Was it 3 glowing red lights?
Well, witness, answer the question.
You're wrong. I never saw that. Maya! I thought the person that stabbed my mother was a man. For a totally different reason. What?
Witness, Mr. Wright,
Stop your chattering, Your Honor.
chattering?
It's worth asking, ask the witness. That's one of my rules.
All right. Well, then let's continue with the testimony. Please tell us how you knew the killer was a man.
Yes, Your Honor. I didn't realize it until after I woke up, but... The killer. When I came to, I was just lying there on the training hall floor. By the time I got back to the garden, the place had totally changed. The torches were lit, and the body was gone. Oh, the torches were lit after the murder? And all of the snow around the stone lantern had been carefully cleaned up, too. Yeah, but Godot can't see the color red. Since the person did all that work alone, I just assumed it was a man.
So it was after the crime took place that the witness came to think the killer was a man.
Yes, that's right. I'm sorry, Your Honor,
No need to apologize. It's as Mr. Godot said, you're utterly exhausted. It's only natural that you would be a little confused. Also, if you consider the situation you described, it doesn't seem too much of a stretch to assume the culprit was a man. Mr. Wright, proceed with your cross-examination.
Here we go. So, you lost consciousness when you were in the garden. Is that correct? Yes, I think. I think it happened when the victim was stabbed. So then the person that carried you into the inner temple.
It could only have been the killer.
That's what I think too. So the killer carried Maya into the inner temple. By the time I got back to the garden, the place had totally changed. Naturally, the killer must have done it, right? Yes, I think so. But why would the killer tamper with the crime scene like that? There must have been something that the killer desperately wanted to hide. I don't know. Nah, it looks like she doesn't have enough confidence. I think I need to gather some more information before I ask her again. Went to bed? The torches were lit and the body was gone. The torches were lit? Yes, that's how I noticed that the whole scene had changed. I'm going to say it was the killer who lit the torches. I mean, who else could it be?
The killer probably lit them since it'd be impossible to do any cover-up work in the dark. However, if that's true, there's one thing that still bothers me. Why did the killer go to the effort of moving the body?
Yeah, that's true. It's hard to see how that would be of any advantage to the killer. The only one who would gain anything from that would be the only person that was at the inner temple, Maya.
Very well. Let me hear some more about the condition of the crime scene.
And all of the snow around the stone lantern had been carefully cleaned up, too.
So you're saying the killer cleaned up the snow?
It did look really odd. Snow was removed in an unnatural-looking rectangular shape around the lantern. There were a lot of shovels around the inner temple, but they're all really heavy, way too heavy for me to use.
An odd fellow indeed, this killer. Why on earth would anyone want to take snow away?
Because it would have been covered in blood. Well, there's one thing I can think of. Didn't you say that a lot of the victims' blood sprayed onto the snow? Yeah. The area I collapsed in ended up being splattered. In other words, the killer's purpose was to hide the bloody snow. I think that's the most reasonable explanation.
Perhaps. However, there's something that's bothering me. If the killer just wanted to hide the snow with blood on it, there's no need to remove that amount.
Yeah, unless he couldn't see the color red. He had to guess what snow had blood on it. Yeah, that's true. He could have scooped up just the snow that was stained with blood. See my previous remark.
It looks like there are some mysteries behind this issue.
But I think this will help explain them. Since the person did all that work alone, I just assumed it was a man.
So, you're saying that you never saw the killer, right?
Yes. But earlier, you very clearly stated that you saw a man behind your attacker. Nick, I'm sorry. The killer certainly went through a lot of trouble to protect Maya, moving the body by pendulum, manipulating the crime scene. But for what purpose? Why do all that? To protect Maya! Phoenix, stop digging! Maybe Maya knows more than she's letting on. I don't want to expose Godot. I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he was protecting Maya. When I came to, I was just lying there on the training hall floor. By the time I got back to the garden, the place had totally changed. Oh, wait. Okay, so I'm going to have to, present something somewhere. Nope, I didn't mean to do that. Nuts. Let's see. Oh, wait, didn't I say that I'd have to... I'd have to gather more information before I did something. Where was that? Crap. Was it here? Nuts. Okay, naturally the killer must have done it. Yes, I think so. But why would... but why would the killer tamper with the crime scene like that? It must have been something that the killer desperately wanted to hide. The truth is, when I saw the crime scene, I felt something. You did? Yes. I felt like the killer was hiding the evidence for me. For my sake.
What? Hiding it for you?
Everyone knew that I was the only one at the inner temple that night. If Sister Bikini had come back and looked at the garden, she may have thought that you had done it.
No, she definitely would have thought so. And you're saying that's why the killer cleaned up the crime scene to make it look like nothing had happened?
Yes, I'm sure of it.
Well, that's certainly an important piece of information. I want you to add that to your testimony.
Yes, Your Honor. All right, now I know what I have to do. Although I really don't want to do it. Here we go. The body of Elise Denham was carried all the way to Hazakura Temple's courtyard. Then at the garden, the real scene of the crime, the snow that we suspect was covered in blood was scooped up and removed. It's reasonable to believe all this was done in an attempt to hide the true crime scene. However, there's still one matter that seems somewhat odd. Oh, and what would that be? You must have figured it out by now, Mr. Cadeau. It's the message written in blood on the lantern. Stop looking so smug, Phoenix. This isn't how I wanted to go. It was written very clearly on the white stone lantern. Maya. Yep. If the killer was so motivated to protect Maya from suspicion, then why didn't they wipe the writing off the lantern?
Duh! You're right! Order! But Mr. Wright, isn't it a fact that the killer was trying to cover up the crime scene?
Indeed. But it doesn't make much sense to move the body and remove the body of bloody snow, then not wipe off the most incriminating thing of all, the bloody writing.
Objection!
But if that's the case, do you have an explanation for the killer's mysterious behavior? Why would this killer move the body and remove all that snow, but then leave the bloody writing on the lantern? You know good and well why he would do that. Why aren't you trying to lead me down a different path? Like, oh, maybe it was to make Maya look guilty. Just cover for yourself at least a little bit. Damn it. Yes, you do, Phoenix. You know exactly what the killer's plan was. Ow. But it's the fact that the killer left the writing on the lantern. There must be a reason for it.
Well then, Mr. Wright, let's hear your opinion. Why did the killer leave the message written in blood on the lantern?
The killer couldn't see the color red. Wasn't there a Bruce Willis movie about that? Prosecutor Godot, earlier in this trial, you gave me some good advice. Once you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. Maybe you're not as dumb as I thought. The real killer wanted to disguise the fact that a crime had occurred there. If that's the case, they wouldn't have left the bloody writing on the stone lantern on purpose. Therefore, it must mean that they didn't notice it. But that doesn't make any sense. The torches were all lit and everything. There's no way any normal person would miss something as glaring as that. You're right. There's no way any normal person would.
What? What are you trying to say, Mr. Wright?
There's only one person involved in this incident who could have missed seeing the bloody writing altogether.
And who would that be? Who is the person that could have failed to notice the bloody writing?
Mr. Godot, this is what you said yesterday. My eyesight's pretty messed up. Even with these huge goggles on my head, I still can't see everything.
You can't see everything? Is that correct, Mr. Godot?
This lantern was submitted as evidence today. I would like the court to think back to the moment it was first presented.
This lantern with something written on it. Why? It's written in blood.
Nonsense. This lantern is as clean as a whistle. And that's not the first time you failed to notice the color red. This was foreshadowed a long time ago. Mr. Godot, just admit it. There are certain colors you can't see, correct? You can't see red on a white background, can you? That's right. We went through this once before, during the poisoning case at Tribulations. This is the apron of the This is the apron the delightful Miss Bird was wearing at the time, and somehow spilled coffee on.
There's something still bothering me, Mr. Godot. Why have you not explained the bloodstain to the court?
Bloodstain? What bloodstain would that be?
Don't play games, prosecutor. The blood-colored stain that's smeared all over the apron.
That's ridiculous. No one told me anything about a blood stain. You could see the coffee on the white apron, but you couldn't see the ketchup because it was red. It's strange. In a black and white photo, those letters would have appeared black to me. I wonder, why am I the only one that can't see them?
So then, Mr. Godot, are you admitting it? Are you admitting that you can't see the red lighting on the red writing on the lantern?
Hey, Gramps. Didn't you know? That's the reason why I don't drink red tea. I wasn't sure about it until now, but just can't believe it. Prosecutor Godot's the murderer. But there's no going back now. I finally figured out the truth. Mr. Godot, the defense at this time formally accuses you. You are the murderer of Ms. Elise Denham, also known as Ms. Misty Fay.
It's hard to believe this may be true. However, once again, Mr. Wright has brought up a disquieting fact about you.
Just make sure you don't fill out the indictment in red ink, Gramps. Come on. How's the little graffiti make me into the killer? Besides, it's not like it's my name that's written there. I'm certain that the killer wasn't able to see the color red. This is rich. Do go on, try it. I'm enjoying myself right now. The answer is right there at the scene of the crime. In the snow.
The snow? How so?
Well, for example, why did the killer move all that snow? Your Honor, you said it yourself. If he wanted to hide the bloody snow, why not take out just that area?
Yes, why didn't he just take that area? Could it be?
Yes, the killer couldn't see the red blood that had seeped into the snow. And so, he had to remove all of the snow. He couldn't be sure of where the blood had landed, so he removed the whole area.
Objection!
Isn't it more likely that the killer couldn't see the blood because it was dark? Not a chance. The torches were all lit. He would have been able to see just fine.
It seems that once again this trial has taken an unexpected turn, to say the least. Can you explain this, Mr. Godot?
Wait, just a minute. Wait just a minute. Maya.
What is it, witness?
Mr. Godot isn't the killer. After all, he didn't even come to the inner temple until 2 days after the murder took place. He didn't show up until after that old bridge got fixed up.
Objection!
Ma,
Can't testify to something like that.
what do you mean? I mean not look it, but I'm...
After the murder happened, you didn't even exist. She didn't? I'm afraid I don't follow.
Are you senile, old man? We just established this a little while ago. After the murder, this witness was unconscious for a long time. Because she was channeling Dahlia Hawthorne.
Oh, that's right.
Please, Your Honor, let me add to my testimony. Nick, please listen to me. Maya, do you plan to cover for Godot no matter what the cost? If that's the case, then I've got no choice. Your Honor, let's hear her testimony. If it means we're going to hear the whole truth, I say we should not silence her. Nicely done, Track.
Very well. Let's hear the witness's testimony. Please tell us what happened at the Inner Temple after the murder.
Yes, sir. After I woke up, I began channeling and my spirit left me, as it were. But little Pearlie was there at the Inner Temple, too. After the incident. Pearlie was also stuck on the Inner Temple side that night. The next morning, she looked around, but she couldn't find anyone. The next day, when the bridge was finally fixed, she was in the spare prep room. That's when Mr. Godot arrived at the Inner Temple for the first time. He found Pearlie first and cheered her right up.
Who is this Pearlie?
Oh, that's my little cousin, Pearl Fay.
So when did you hear about this?
This is hearsay. Oh, just a little while ago, when I was in the medical office.
I'm terribly sorry, but what you heard from someone else is simply not admissible as testimony.
What? Oh, come on. Pearlie would never tell a lie. She's way more honest. She's a way more honest person than I'll ever be. Real smart, Maya. You always know the best things to say when you're under oath.
Yeah.
The prosecution has no objection. We believe the witness.
Mr. Godot, Let's just move on to the cross-examination, if the defense has no objections. This is highly unusual, but... Well, Mr. Wright? Let's get this cross-examination started.
After the incident, Pearlie was also stuck on the Inner Temple side that night. So, where do you think Pearl slept that night? In the spare prep room next to the training hall, I guess. There's a rule that you can't enter the training hall during an alkalites training.
But even so, why did she go to the Inner Temple in the first place?
It seems that Pearls became very worried about Maya. She knew that the spiritual training I was about to undergo was very intense. Pearls was supposed to channel Dahlia Hawthorne, but she couldn't do it. That's why she headed to the Inner Temple. However, Dahlia Hawthorne was already there, possessing the body of Elise Denham. The next morning, she looked around but couldn't find anyone. The next day, when the bridge was finally fixed, she was in the spare prep room. Oh, wait. I'm supposed to be cross-examining. She searched the entire Inner Temple side end to end? Well, you see, Pearlie gets pretty scared when she's alone. And there weren't that many places to look. She says she even went back and forth several times.
The Inner Temple side has two structures, the training hall and a spare prep room.
And there's also a storage shack, I think. And that's about it.
There's a storage shack too?
Pearls was looking for other people, right?
Would she have really examined a storage shack all that carefully?
Why don't we just ask Pearl? Well, if it was me, that would be the first place I would investigate.
So that means it's possible that someone may have been hiding in the storage shack.
The next day, when the bridge was finally fixed, she was in the spare prep room. Pearls didn't hear the sound of them working on the bridge? What do you mean?
I was just wondering why she would stay in the prep room. If it was me, I'd at least go out and wait at the foot of the bridge.
Oh, well, Pearlie said she was sleeping at the time. She said she was so scared during the night that she couldn't sleep well and woke up a bunch of times.
Poor little girl, all alone like that. Well, we know that she had at least one friend in the sacred cavern. Dahlia Hawthorne, who was busy battling with the trick lock. She couldn't let anyone see her, so she wouldn't have shown herself to Pearls. What happened after the bridge was finally fixed?
That's when Mr. Godot arrived at the Inner Temple for the first time.
So it was your first time on the Inner Temple side, Mr. Godot? That's funny. Am I imagining things, or did the defense ask me a question? Mr. Wright, please save your questions for the witness. What you heard from someone else is simply not admissible as testimony. Those are your words, Your Honor. Touché, Mr. Wright. Oh, well, what do you have to say, Mr. Godot? Hot nights and even hotter coffee. That's what I always say. If it hadn't been for this case, I never would have visited there. A freezing cold temple in the mountains, I think I'll pass.
So he had never visited Hazakir Temple or the Inner Temple? What?
You want to say something, Track?
In any case, I have to find a crack in Godot's armor. While I cross-examine Maya, that is.
Very well, please go on with your testimony. After After fixing the bridge, the policeman came over to the inner temple side, right?
Yes. Then Mr. Godot, he found Pearly first and cheered her right up. He cheered her right. He cheered her up. That's what Pearly said. She said he was a very nice older gentleman. Thank you for looking after my cousin, Mr. Godot.
And here I was thinking you were nothing more than a coffee addict. Huh. Cut it out. You're making me blush.
This guy's really beginning to get on my nerves in more ways than one.
The truth is, there aren't that many places to look on the inner temple side. The policemen were all busy going over the garden with fine-tooth combs. So I decided to carry out an investigation in my own way, Godot style. I'm the same way. I like to hand down verdicts in my own way, judge style.
Maybe I should ask some questions Phoenix style. Godot's investigation, maybe? You said that you conducted an investigation of your own. Did you find anything?
Looks like my investigation went about as well as yours, Trat. After all, I did miss the bloody writing on the lantern.
Well, I didn't miss it, so speak for yourself, Goggles.
The only odd thing I discovered was the beauty in the training hall.
Why now?
Misty Faye, naturally. Clad in her stunning Japanese garb, surrounded by the hue and aroma of Western tastes.
Western... What? Could he find a stranger way to describe gravy?
So from there you headed for the prep room?
Wait a minute. If he saw the gravy, how did he see the picture of Misty? She was completely obscured. Yeah, exactly. What did he say just now? I think I just found his proverbial weak spot.
There's only one thing of any importance here.
Where was Godot when the murder was taking place?
He must have already been at the inner temple when it happened. Otherwise, he couldn't have killed Elise Denham.
And why are we still calling her Elise Denham?
All right, hang on.
Is it here?
Yeah, I think it must be.
Oh, there it is. See?
Mr. Godot, the first time you crossed Dusky Bridge and went into the inner temple was long before the murder took place.
Why do you say that?
Because he just made it one fatal slip-up. Should have kept his damn mouth shut. The hanging scroll in the training hall. Hanging scroll?
But... Mr. Godot is right. The scroll shows a picture of my mother.
Maya, I know you know it is. I know you know who it is, but here's something you didn't know. By the time the bridge had been repaired, 2 days after the murder, the hanging scroll in the training hall looked like this. What's that wonderfully delicious smell? The morning after the crime, someone covered it with gravy.
Gravy? But why gravy, Nick?
Because gravy was much more than a condiment to the culprit. Well, Mr. Godot, you really hadn't seen the hanging scroll until after the murder. You wouldn't have had any way of knowing that it was Misty Faye.
Oh, wait a minute, Nick.
Yes.
Take another look at the hanging scroll. Look, at the top. There's a crest there.
Ah, that. It's the mark of the master, correct?
Exactly. So if you know the meaning of the mark...
Then you could guess it was the picture of Misty Fey on there.
True. But Mr. Godot described what was underneath like this. Clad in her stunning Japanese garb, surrounded by the hue and aroma of Western tastes. Oh. Yes, it's possible that he knew what the crest meant. However, he couldn't have known that she was wearing Japanese clothing. Mr. Godot, on the day of the murder, you were hiding at the Inner Temple long before the crime took place. Yeah, but why?
Can I ask you just one thing, Track? Just one little thing. What is it? This whole theory of yours. It all rests on a certain assumption. That I knew beforehand that a crime was going to be committed.
That's right. Otherwise, there's no reason for him to sneak onto the crime scene.
Good point. Of course, Mr. Godot knew about the plan.
Huh?
What did you say? Is it really possible that another person knew of that plan?
See, another person. Oh, wait a minute.
This crime was actually planned over 1 year ago. Morgan Fay authored the plan for her daughter's future. And these instructions were hidden somewhere in Fay Manor for a year. However, by the time Little Pearls found these instructions, they had already been unsealed. Unsealed? Yes. The killer had read these instructions long before Pearls ever found them. That's how he knew the crime was to take place at the Inner Temple. And you still insist this crafty killer is me? You bet I do. But you just said that the instructions were hidden.
That's right. Mr. Godot couldn't have known where the instructions were hidden.
If he really wanted to know, he had one great chance to find out. Yes, and when was that? During a visit.
A visit?
Morgan Fay told her daughter Pearl about where the instructions were hidden. During one of her visits to the detention center. That would be the only time for someone to have learned where they were hidden. Eavesdropping on a visit at the detention center?
Yes.
It can be arranged if you were someone with easy access in and out of there. Like, for example, a prosecutor such as Mr. Godot.
Yeah, but why?
Order, order, order! Mr. Godot, you're under fire again. This murder could not have been carried out without prior knowledge. And you were the only one that could have acquired this information before the murder. Humans are afraid of the dark. And yet, at the same time, we're fascinated and bewitched by it.
Maybe that's why humans drink the darkness that is coffee. Sorry for always asking, but what does that mean?
It means there's a reason for everything. According to your theory, the killer in this case eavesdropped on a conversation during a jail visit where he learned of a hidden plan for a crime. After discovering the plans, he hid in the inner temple and waited for the crime to occur. Then he ultimately took a person's life. And he did all of that just to protect this witness? That's right. If you're accusing me of this crime, I have to ask you, why would I do this?
Okay, hang on. I might be a little more okay with Godot going down for this. Now, because would he have stabbed Pearls in the back if she had actually gone through with the channeling? Oh boy!
This girl's nothing but a stranger to me.
She's the younger sister of someone you were very close to. But I don't think Phoenix knows that.
I've got no reason to go through that kind of trouble to protect her. I am what you see. I'm certainly not the type to rescue the damsel in distress. The killer's behavior is certainly extreme, for lack of a better word. Even considering that the killer wanted to protect this witness's life, his behavior is still a little too unnatural. However, you had a good reason, didn't you, Mr. Godot?
Oh, maybe Phoenix has figured it out.
An unshakable reason that forced you to protect this witness at all costs.
I knew it. You figured it out, haven't you, Nick?
I guess you were doing your best to cover for Godot. For the same reason, huh? Okay, try it. I'm all ears. Let's hear it.
It's very simple.
Maya Fey is a lot more than just a stranger to you. Oh, what's this? There's one person who lies at the very center of this whole story. One person that ties you and Maya Fey together inextricably.
Take that!
There's a very good reason why Maya Fey's life is so precious to you. After all, she is Mia Fey's only sister. Mia Fey. You once worked alongside her. That was when you were a defense attorney. Wait a second here. Mr. Godot is a defense attorney? With your honor's piercing intellect, you must have figured it out by now. The real name of this man who calls himself Godot, his real name is Diego Armando. Isn't that right? The last time someone called me by that name was over 6 years ago. Diego Armando. That name rings a bell. It should, Your Honor. All of this is related to a single case. A case in which a convict named Terry Falls killed himself. Mia Fey's first time in court
tragic outcome left a deep wound in her heart. She knew that behind it all was a heartless, scheming demoness in disguise. But in the end, Mia couldn't tear off that disguise. However, there was one man who reached out to help her. Diego Armando, a senior defense attorney at the office where Mia worked. It's my fault. It's all my fault that Mr. Falls killed himself. Mia, you can't cry yet. The only time a lawyer can cry is when it's all over. I was moved by her. The way she put all her faith in her clients. That pure sweetheart of hers. That's why I could never forgive Dahlia Hawthorne. Mia and I thoroughly investigated that fake kidnapping incident. And one fateful day, Dahlia wanted to meet with me. It had been 6 months since the trial. We met in the courthouse cafeteria.
I just remembered. 6 years ago, right here in this courthouse, you were poisoned.
Even I didn't see it coming. Dahlia Hawthorne slipped some poison into my coffee.
Some newspapers at the time called it a murder. But very little information about the case was released to the press.
But you weren't dead at all. No official reports ever actually called it a murder. It was just a deep, deep coma. I see. My body shut down. My life became nothing but a long, deep sleep. That woman's poison did a real number on my central nervous system. I lost my sight, and all my hair turned white due to the damage it caused. That's terrible. Apparently, it was a miracle that I ever regained consciousness. Oh no, by the time you came back, Mia was dead. 5 years had passed since I drank that poison brew. Then one morning, my eyes flew open from the smell of a doctor's cup of coffee.
5 years? You were asleep for 5 years? No wonder you drink so much coffee.
And the worst possible news was waiting for me. Mia Fey was dead. From the very moment I opened my eyes, I had already lost everything I thought I had. The woman I loved had been murdered. And the woman I loathed had been sentenced to death.
The woman you loathed?
The woman who had spiked my scalding hot coffee, Dahlia Hawthorne. Huh. Good old Mia. She didn't let me down. She got her revenge before she checked out. In the end, there wasn't anyone waiting for me when I woke up. That's so sad. For someone like me, for someone who had slept away the best days, there were only 2 reasons left to live. And it was for those 2 reasons that I decided to become a prosecutor. If I may ask, what were your 2 reasons to live? The first was you, Trat. Huh? Me? I hadn't drank that stupid poison. Mia Fey never would have died, much less the way she did. You were the only one who was there to protect her. But you let her die. It's all your fault. It wasn't like that. Kinda was. You were late. I wanted to see for myself what kind of man you really were.
So that's why you became a prosecutor?
Well, the reason for the living. She goes by the name of Maya Fey. You mean me? You were the only way I could make up for the sin of not saving Mia. 1 year ago, when the Korean village incident was resolved, it's obvious that Morgan Fay was planning something. Whatever her evil plan was, I was determined to stop it. Ah, there it is. That's why he was spying on her. My role as a prosecutor put me in the perfect position to do something about it. That's how you overheard Pearl's visit with Morgan at the detention center. I knew that the time was drawing near. Since I knew the plan, I thought I could foil it. My goal was to outwit the plan. I thought if I could do that, I could keep that girl from being caught up in it. That makes sense. If Pearls had known that the actual purpose of the plan was to kill Maya, she never would have helped out. Finally, the day of the plan was drawing near. I contacted both of my accomplices.
Accomplices?
Iris of the Hazakura Temple and Misty Fey. Oh, that's why. That's why Misty channeled. Okay. That's how she knew. She didn't read it first, he did, and passed the information along. I mean, she probably still read it. I especially needed the help of Iris. She was to take the fall in my backup plan in case we couldn't control Pearl Fay. But, how did you contact my mother? Even I couldn't contact my mother. She'd been missing for almost 20 years. Officially, yeah. What? What do you mean, officially? You've heard about it, haven't you? Oh, right. The picture books. About the strong ties between the main family and the government? Wait, what? Oh, huh? Now that you mention it, Bikini did say something to that effect. She said that the Master of Korean had great authority. Even without her official position, Misty Fay still wielded great influence. The police have been keeping an eye on her movements all this time. That's how I was able to contact her. Again, because of my position as a prosecutor. So, my mother was cooperating with you? Don't ever forget. No matter how far away from you she was, she never stopped thinking about you. She was always? That's why I knew she would do anything to protect you. If you want to know how strong her resolve to protect you was, look at her staff.
Her staff? The one with the sword in it?
The day the plan was to be carried out arrived soon enough. We met for the first time at Hazakura Temple. That's when your mother showed me her special staff. I realized it then, just how far she was willing to go. She was ready to use that sword to protect you from Morgan Fay if necessary. Yes, even if it meant paying the ultimate price. Mother? Damn. That night, the night of the crime, there's just one way to stop Morgan's evil plan. You mean Pearls, don't you? We had to make sure she didn't channel Dolly Hawthorne. Well, Pearl, what are you going to do tonight? Well, if you'd like, you can come to my room. Perhaps we can read some books together.
We thought we could prevent her from playing her part in Morgan's plan, but she never showed up.
She was worried and followed me to the inner temple.
That was the thing we were most afraid of. And that's why Misty Fey had to do the channeling herself. She channeled Dolly Hawthorne into her own body. What? What do you mean?
If she channeled the spirit first, then Pearls wouldn't be able to do it herself.
As Master of Korean, Misty Fey's power was supreme. So that's how it went down. She channeled Dolly Hawthorne so that Pearl Fey wouldn't be able to. What? Is this true? My role in the plan was to make sure no one was going to hurt Maya Fey.
That's why I hid myself at the inner temple.
Just in case you needed to be saved from Dolly Hawthorne. Good-o. Anyway, that's all I'm going to admit to, Trot.
Huh?
There's no doubt about it, you're a great defense attorney. But you're going to have to do the rest yourself. The background leading up to this incident has been laid bare. There's just one question remaining, Mr. Wright. Who killed the victim? There are only two possible suspects right now. Maya Fey and, I'm sad to say, you, Mr. Godot. Well, Trot, if you're the real deal, then finish this thing once and for all. Show us beyond a shadow of a doubt that you can finish this on your own.
No, Nick, please don't.
Maya,
I heard the whole thing. From my sister in the medical office. That's why I have to protect Mr. Godot. I can't do it. I can't testify against him. After all, he's the man who put his life on the line to protect Mia, and me too.
Maya, I know that.
Nick.
But even so, it doesn't absolve him of his crime. Please, Maya, testify. Ms. Fey, your testimony, please. This is the final testimony. Don't bother trying to hide anything because I'll know. I want to hear the truth from your own lips.
I understand. I'm sure you're right. I'm ready now, Nick.
All right, young lady. Tell us about the moments before you lost consciousness. What exactly happened at the time of the murder?
The time of the murder. Just before it happened, I think I saw some red lights. 3 of them. Thought I'd ask for help, but just then I was splattered with blood. She wasn't dead, though, and she struck back at the enemy behind her. Suddenly, the red lights went out, and the whole area was dark. Just at that moment, there was a horrible scream. Right after that, Dahlia collapsed and I lost consciousness.
These red lights, I thought you said you don't remember seeing them.
I'm sorry. I was lying. I thought I saw them, but then they disappeared all of a sudden.
Huh. Things break, Trot. Even the best of theories. Who was it that stabbed Misty Fey? Looks like you still can't prove it.
Maya is telling the truth this time, I know it. Ooh. Yeah, the blood on the dagger is going to be Godot's. Rest is up to me.
Well then, Mr. Wright, proceed with your final cross-examination of the witness.
All right.
Hold it!
3 red lights. Light shining in the dark. I don't think you can make a mistake about that. Yeah, you're right. I think I saw them, but I can't say for certain. I can't tell you for sure they were from Mr. Godot's mask either. I don't get the feeling she's covering for him anymore, but just after that, you turned towards the lights and called for help. Isn't that because you thought the lights were coming from Mr. Godot's mask? Yeah, I guess so. Maybe that's what I was thinking at the time. But I can't remember, after all. There was a person I couldn't identify in front of me. Maya's life was in terrible danger at the time. There's no way she can remember the details of the scene perfectly.
All right then, let's go on with the testimony. What did you do when you saw the red lights?
Thought I'd asked for help, but just then I was splattered with blood.
Hold it!
That blood, was it Dahlia Hawthorne's blood? I think so, probably. Just at that moment, I heard a soft scream that seemed to be close by. It was a woman's voice.
So, that was when the killer stabbed the victim from behind with the murder weapon. Is that right?
Without a doubt, Maya was in the middle of a really dangerous situation.
Anyway,
The victim was stabbed by the murder weapon. What happened after that? She wasn't dead, though. She struck back at the enemy behind her.
Hold it!
Struck back? How do you know that? Well, you're right. I didn't see it exactly, but I could tell by the sounds of their breathing and movement. And also the smell of blood.
you have witnessed more horror than any young lady should ever have to in one life. So then, what did you do at that point?
I couldn't move. I could just barely make out their shadows moving in the dark, but I had no idea what to do. Did you still see the red lights you mentioned earlier? Yes, I think so. But suddenly the red lights went out and the whole area was dark.
Hold it!
They went out? Yes, suddenly I couldn't see them at all.
What could it mean?
The red lights were coming from Godot's mask. They went out right in the middle of a fight. Maybe the mask was damaged? Or maybe it was knocked off. Or maybe the batteries ran out. Right, try it.
Or maybe those little red
Pinhead-looking lights were just stopped working. What could have really happened then? Just at that moment, there was a horrible scream.
Hold it!
What do you mean by just at that moment? Do you mean the moment when the red lights went out? Yes, that's right. The scream that you heard then, was it Dahlia Hawthorne? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it was a man's voice.
What? So then that scream came from the killer?
That's gotta be it. I think Dahlia Hawthorne must have taken the blade and attacked the killer with it.
And then the killer let out a scream of pain, huh?
After that, the killer stole the blade back and delivered the final blow. I guess.
Well, Mr. Wright, this seems to make sense to me.
Yeah, it sounds like a reasonable deduction. But I still kind of wonder. I'm sorry to say this, but that interpretation would create an enormous contradiction.
That makes sense. After all, my deductions are almost certainly never correct.
Remember the testimony she just gave before the killer let out a scream. Maya said she had already been splattered by the victim's blood. In other words, the blade and the staff had already been plunged into the victim. Is that right? She couldn't have struck back with a sword that was already stuck in her body. The weapon that caused the killer to let out a scream must have been something other than the staff. If you're so sure about that, then don't keep us waiting any longer, Trat. There's only one thing I can think of that could have been used as the weapon here. If Dahlia Hawthorne had already been stabbed in the back by the staff, what could she have used to strike back at the killer?
Take that!
Naturally, the dagger the killer brought to the scene of the crime.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
This dagger was found at the crime scene stuck into a pine tree. Yes, the detective found that this morning and brought it to me. Dahlia Hawthorne struck back at the killer with this. And she managed to wound him as well.
Objection.
Just because he let out a scream don't mean that he's wounded. For all we know, the blood on the dagger could have been from the victim. Oh, nope, we already know it wasn't. Have you forgotten that the blood has already been tested? Since we learned it wasn't the victim's blood, it must be the killer's blood. The killer must have a wound somewhere on his body.
So you're saying the blood on this dagger belongs to the killer?
Exactly. The DNA analysis of the blood would prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt. And yes, Mr. Godot, it would prove it's your blood. Nice theory, Trat.
Order! Order in the court!
Is this the end? Have I done it? Even he won't be able to change the results of a scientific test. Huh. Let me ask you something, Trat. Let's just say that it turned out that I was the killer. Do you really think I would be stupid enough to leave evidence like that? Why? Just think for a second. This dagger was found this morning by a detective and brought to me. There was already blood on it, correct? But even so, I was the one who brought this dagger here to the courtroom.
Yes, what does that prove?
Well, if I really were the killer, I could have washed the blade off and then planted another person's blood on it. No. Damn it! In any case, there's one thing I can guarantee, Trat. That blood, it don't belong to me. Not a chance. What?
In any event, it seems to be established that the killer was wounded. All right then, witness.
Wait a minute.
What's the problem?
I know I probably shouldn't say this, but there's a big contradiction in Nick's explanation. Maya? This dagger. You said that it wounded the killer. That's right. But, if Mr. Godot had really been cut with the dagger, his clothes should be bloody or have a rip in them, right? Maya? Maybe he just changed his clothes? That'd solve the contradiction pretty easily. What are you talking about? It's not that simple at all. Remember back to the day of the murder. Everyone that was on the inner temple side got trapped there.
That's right. And once the bridge was fixed and the police headed for the inner temple, Mr. Godot was already there waiting for them.
He never had a chance to change his clothes.
Ah! Order in the court. What the witness says is...
Under the mask. Well, maybe he brought a change of clothes with him. Really, Nick?
But no one could have predicted the lightning strike that shut down the bridge. Why would anyone have brought a change of clothes?
Now, did the judge just take smart pills during the last recess? Well, then maybe the killer took off his clothes before he committed the murder. That way he wouldn't get any blood on them.
Objection.
That's impossible, Trite. You know how cold it gets up there late at night. Now, after a few minutes with no clothes on, you'd be frozen solid. Ah! Huh. So that's all you got. I knew you weren't tough enough to finish this. Right now, if Mia Fey were here, she would have closed the book on this case already. If Mia Fey were here? So come on, Trite. Can you do it or not?
How about it, Mr. Wright? You've accused Mr. Godot of being the killer. Can you prove it? Have you got even one piece of evidence?
The question isn't whether I can prove it or not. The fact is, I have to prove it. That's the only choice I have. I was taught that it's one of the rules to being a lawyer. I can prove it. I'm going to bring your magnificent vengeance to fruition just as you want it. Ha! That's good. A fighter till the very end, Trite. Since there's just one piece of evidence that can prove your point, why don't we go for the unlimited penalty? Are you trying to pressure me, Mr. Godot? Because it doesn't matter to me. I got the one piece of evidence I need. Give me a break. You got nothing, Trite. So what do I do at a time like this? It's simple. I've got to think outside the box and approach this from a different angle.
All right then, Mr. Wright. Let's hear what you've got.
There's one thing I've demonstrated in the previous cross-examination. The killer was wounded. That was proven by the blood on the dagger.
But we decided it was impossible for him to have hidden such a wound. If he had been cut by a dagger, there should have been a bloodstain on his clothing.
There's one place the killer could have hidden his wound.
What'd you say?
Hidden? This is it. My last stand. Need to think about this from a different angle. I don't need to think about why there were no bloodstains on his clothing. I need to show how he had the wound. It's the end of the line, the final stop, Trite. Let's hear what you got. Where's this location where you say the killer hid his wound?
Take that!
Your mask! I don't know what you're talking about. And frankly, I don't need to know. What I do know is that you'll never be half the lawyer she was. Isn't that right? Trite. What was that just now? Mia? It can't be. You're living on. Through him? Even as we speak, you're still hiding the wound. Damn, dude. It's beneath your mask! Okay, let's go! During the fight, the red lights given off by the killer suddenly disappeared. Seconds later, the killer let out a scream. That's right, your mask went flying off your face. Mr. Godot, would you mind removing your mask? If you have a dagger wound under there somewhere, then I'd say this whole case is solved. Ah! I'm sorry, Maya. I'm sorry, Maya. Just now, I saw her spirit in you. I never liked you. 6 years ago, you helped the woman who put me to sleep by hiding her bottle of poison. And then, while I was sleeping, you let Mia die. But you didn't care. You just kept living your pathetic, happy-go-lucky life. You even had the nerve to follow in her footsteps as a lawyer. I can never forgive you. That's what I thought. Mr. Godot. But I was wrong about you. I knew it from the very beginning. The truth is, the only person I can never find it in my heart to forgive was me.
You? Yourself?
I was the one that failed to protect Mia. Me and no one else. I tried to avert my eyes from the truth, to escape from the harshness of reality. I just couldn't face Mia's death head on, so I ran. I hid behind a mask. I threw away my true name. I couldn't even deal with being a defense attorney anymore, so I quit. But you saved Maya. Yeah, that was my plan. Up until just now, anyway. What do you mean? Are you listening, Maya? If I had really wanted to save you, then there's one person that I should have gone and talked to right away. Who would that be? Are you talking about Nick? But I didn't do it. I tried to get the help of Iris and your mother, but I closed my eyes to the most important man involved. You know why? The real reason. No, why? I suppose I wasn't really interested in saving you at all. Huh? I think I was just trying to salvage what's left of my own broken soul. I was trying to make up for the fact that I couldn't save Mia. Nothing more. That's why I let you walk right into a situation that I knew was dangerous. Forgive me. You're wrong. You put your life on the line to save Maya. Was it really for Maya's sake? Even I'm not really sure.
What do you mean by that?
That night, in the darkness of the garden, when I saw her silhouette, a part of me must have known the truth. The truth that it wasn't really Dahlia Hawthorne standing there in front of me. It could have been Misty Faye. Or even that little girl. But I still picked up the blade. It's like I was dreaming. I'm not sure exactly what was going on in my mind at that point. Was I really motivated by the pure desire to protect Maya Faye? Or was it something else? Was it my hatred for a woman who had stolen everything from me 6 years earlier? Could it have simply been a desire for revenge? And now, I don't know anything anymore. I did learn something today, however. I finally realized that I was the arrogant one. I was just chasing an illusion, a fantasy. The stupid fantasy of defeating you in the courtroom. You were the one who made me realize my folly. You never ran away from Mia's death. Instead, you picked up where she left off, as a true defender of the people. Oh, that scene though. In that one moment, I understood everything. Mr. Godot. I think you already know this, but if you don't, my name is Diego Armando. Mr. Armando, I believe in you. I know you were trying to save me. Thanks. Your wound is bleeding. Huh. Did you forget already? In my world, the color red don't exist. These must be my tears. Tears? Ever since I woke up from my coma. I think I've been waiting for this very moment. Mr. Armando. You do well to remember this, Maya. The only time a lawyer can cry is when it's all over. Oh, I was really hoping Maya would channel Mia for Armando just for a moment.
This time, it really is all over, isn't it? Defendant.
Yes, Your Honor.
Although you weren't directly involved in the murder, tampering with the body and the crime scene is a serious offense in itself.
I understand, Your Honor. Mr. Armando explained that to me very carefully. I knew the risk, and I willingly cooperated anyway.
Very well. Before I hand down my verdict, is there anything you'd like to say?
Well, there is one thing. I'd like to say something to Mr. Wright.
Eh?
I want to apologize to you.
Apologize?
To me? For what? For the case 5 years ago. Of course.
I just remembered. Weren't you poisoned by your own lover?
Not exactly, but yeah, something like that.
Even now, 5 years later, I can hardly believe it.
She was going to do it. She was planning to kill me. It's not all that surprising. The two of you hardly knew each other.
There? What do you mean?
You and my sister, you only met twice.
What?
What? You mean you and Phoenix and yeah, but what? We only met twice. The first time you met was on that fateful day. The day she poisoned Mr. Armando in the cafeteria of this very courthouse. The next time you met her was 8 months later. You met her again on the day that she stole your cold medicine. And Doug Swallow was killed.
No way.
It can't be true. I mean, during our whole relationship, we were... For those 8 months, the woman that you thought was Dahlia Hawthorne wasn't actually my sister.
But
I hope one day you can forgive me, Beanie. That's right. I lied to you for 8 months.
But why? Why would you do such a thing?
Ever since she gave you the bottle that day, my sister was trying to get it back as soon as she possibly could. Because of the police investigation and their surveillance, she couldn't move about freely.
So that's why you...
My sister, from the beginning, she was prepared for the worst.
Prepared for the worst?
She thought that you might somehow discover the truth. That's why she was always ready to deal with you at a moment's notice.
You mean she was ready to kill me, don't you?
She already had so much to answer for. I didn't want any more sins on her soul. I begged her not to do it, and she agreed to give me a chance.
And that's why you came to me? You came to get the bottle pinned back for me in her place.
But I couldn't get you to give it back. I failed at something even as simple as that. 8 months passed and I still couldn't get it back from you. Finally, my sister couldn't wait any longer. She didn't consult me about her plans for you that day. It was the first time that it had ever happened.
That was a bit strange, wasn't it? Up until that day, you two were partners in crime, and she would confirm with you.
I think she must have noticed.
Huh? Noticed what?
My feelings for you? Oh. If I had found out she was planning to kill you, I would have done whatever was necessary to stop her. Even if it meant her life. Or mine.
Damn.
After spending those 8 months by your side, my feelings toward you, they changed. I have something to say to you, too. Yes. You really are the person I always thought you were. Even after Dahlia Hawthorne was found guilty, I still believed in you. Oh, right there. Oh, thank you. Pearls is going to be so upset. How many cups of darkness have I drank over the years? Even I don't know. I'll tell you though, right now, this one here is the greatest cup I think I've ever had. Don't you think so, Phoenix Wright? Oh. Yeah, I think you're right.
The purpose of this trial was to rule on the murder of the victim, Elise Denham. At some point, I expect you will be tried for your role as an accomplice in this case.
I understand, Your Honor.
Very well, on the charge of murder, I hereby find the defendant not guilty. Court is now adjourned.
Oh boy, I hope Armando at least gets some sort of extenuating circumstances. 4:51 p.m. So I guess it's all over. The way everything ended, was justice really served? The man who risked his life to save Maya is being sent to prison by my own hand. Of course justice was served. Oh, come on, where were you before Armando got taken away? Hi, Mia. I'm proud of you, Phoenix. Your defense was truly brilliant. But I couldn't save Mr. Armando, the man who cared so deeply for you. You're wrong, Phoenix. You did save Diego. You saved him in the only way possible. You mean with that verdict? I think one day you'll understand too. Phoenix, I want you to remember one thing. You were as good out there today as any defense attorney could ever hope to be. There's nothing more you can learn from me. Mia! You've accomplished something I wasn't able to. I owe you a great deal. Thank you. Mia. I'm sure we'll meet again someday, Phoenix. Bye. I've handled lots of cases and seen a lot of things. And along this journey, I found myself asking just one question. What does it really mean to defend someone? I suppose today's case produced one possible answer. Hello. Nick. Maya. I guess it's just like my sis said. Mia, what'd she say? That night, when I channeled Mia to get her advice on what to do, this is what she wrote back in my notebook. Don't worry, Phoenix will save everyone in the end. But, come on, cut it out with that gloomy face. Can't you see, me, sis, I'm sure Iris too. We owe you for everything you have done for us, Nick. Yeah, but your mom's dead. Oh, Maya. How can you be so bright and chipper after all this happened? You were brutally attacked. You even saw your own mother murdered, although you didn't know it at the time. Ow! That's Francisca. Still a softy as always, Phoenix Wright.
Excellent work, Wright.
Mr. Edgeworth, when did you get back? Oh, that's right. I guess no one filled her in on that. Edgeworth and Francisca have actually been helping me. Helping you?
If these two hadn't been there on the first day of the trial, the defense wouldn't have gotten anywhere.
Wow! But where were you, Nick? I heard he fell into a river and caught a nasty cold, which forced him to sleep all day.
Yes, as he laid in bed shivering from his fever with Iris's hood pulled over his head.
Oh, ouch. Talk about embarrassing, Nick. You definitely need more training. Anyway, thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. And you too. Francisca.
I don't suppose...
Oh, Larry.
There's room for me in this group hug, is there?
Oh, Larry. What's with the longer than usual face?
I realized something when I was reborn. I realized that Larry was never of use to anyone, not even once.
That's not true, right, Nick? What? You're asking me?
Well, Nick, is that true? I've gotten placed in this world, right?
Yeah, of course.
I knew it. Everyone would be better off if I was gone for good.
No. Oh yeah, those portraits you painted, they were really good. Is that right, Edgeworth?
What? Me? Why you making that face, huh, Edgy?
Yes, indeed. I certainly can't say that they lack resemblance.
You really mean it? What about you, Fancy? Did I draw you well, too? Ah! My beauty can't possibly be captured by a mere crayon. Nevertheless, I recognize the effort you put into it, and that's worth something. So, then you'll do it like you promised? You're gonna model for my next picture book. Francie's whippity whack. Ah! Don't get carried away. Well, how about that? I guess painting portraits is the only thing I'm good at. The painting of Pearl is pretty darn good too, if you ask me.
Wait, what?
Huh?
Now that you mention it, I haven't seen her around.
Pearls. Where could she have gone? Normally, she would have made a beeline for Maya. Oh, I'll go look for her. I'll be right back. Maybe she, maybe Mia went to look for Diego after all. Hey, Pearly! Hey, Pearly! Pearly! Pearl! Pearls!
Right. You seem to be uncharacteristically puzzled. I suspect you are wondering how Maya can be so cheerful despite all this happened.
Yeah.
To be honest, I can't understand it either.
Francisca? Oh, that's right. She lost her father fairly recently as well.
I think I understand how she feels. Maya's a much wiser person than she appears, and I think she realizes something. Now is exactly the time when she needs to be as strong as she can be.
What do you mean by now is exactly the time?
Maya wasn't the only one that was badly wounded by this incident. In fact, there was someone that was hurt far more deeply than she. I believe it's for that person that Maya is trying her best not to cry.
Someone who was hurt more deeply than Maya? Edgeworth? I think I'm starting to understand too.
Oh! Then tell me, Phoenix Wright. Who is Maya Fey being strong for?
Izabati? What? Um... Is it Pearl?
Take that!
Pearl Fee.
Oh, the poor kid. After all, the reason she worked so hard to follow the instructions was because she loved and believed in her mother, Morgan. It's for the good of the Fae clan. Sure, she believed in every last word. She thought she was doing it for Maya. That's why she was so happy. Shows how truly devoted she is to Maya. But it's a cruel irony that it was her exuberance that led to this tragedy. Maya Faye's mother was killed, and Maya herself put into the deepest peril imaginable. And that's exactly why Maya is putting on a brave face. She's doing it for Pearl's sake, until she can see her smile again. Oh, hey! So this is where y'all were. Wow! Looks like we got quite a bunch of... Ouch! Dude, what was that for, sir?
Sorry about that, Sclaffy. My fit just seems to have a mind of its own.
Yeah, what's up, Detective Gumshoe?
Oh, you know, this and that. Anyway, congrats on your win. Let's go out tonight, pal. Dinner's on me. My salad's just sort of kind of going down by a teeny weeny bit, but it's all right. I made reservations at a first-class French restaurant tonight. Da! Pretty good work, Sclaffy. That VIP was your reward.
Detective Gumshoe? You said a first-class French restaurant. You don't mean...
Tribune. Where else?
I knew it. We're doomed.
Come on, let's go, everyone. Can't keep Maggie waiting, pal. Hey, you, crybaby. You invited too. Oh, forget about me. Pearl and I will be at the Lover Shack eating potatoes.
You know, Maya's taking an awfully long time to get back. She's still out looking for pearls.
What did I...
Oh, Maya, what's wrong? Nick, what do I do? Pearlie, I can't find her anywhere.
What? I'll bet she just went back home.
That's all. I thought so too, so I called the village. But no one has heard from her. This has never happened before.
As I figured, she has been badly hurt by this incident. She feels responsible for the tragedy that has befallen you, Maya.
But none of this was her fault. What should I do?
Detective Gumshoe,
Yeah, what is it, pal?
Could you guys go on ahead?
But what about you?
Maya and I will... We'll join you guys once we find pearls. Nick!
don't worry about us, Detective Gumshoe. We may be a little late, but we'll definitely be there. We have a lot of celebrating to do tonight, and I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Yeah, but you're the... Very well, Phoenix Wright. We'll go on ahead.
Don't keep us waiting, right?
We won't. But where should we look? Where could Pearlie have gone?
Well, let's go, Maya. There's only one place I can think of that pearls might have gone to.
How's secure temple main gate? A secure temple? For pearls, I'll bet this is a very important place. After all, it's where this whole incident started. What's this? You're back again so soon? Sister Bikini? I thought we'd be eating mashed potatoes alone tonight. So she's here? Pearlie is here? She's in the training hall. Why don't you hurry along and go see her? Okay. Pearlie's not here. Ah. Maya. Check it out. The hanging scroll. Tap. Someone cleaned it off. It's gotta be Pearls. Ah! Mystic Maya! Pearlie! Why did you just leave like that? Mystic Maya! Mystic Maya! I swore that I would never cause the trouble for the two of you ever again. Because it's all my fault that Mystic Maya's mother. That's why you came here? It's the least I could do to pray for your happiness. You don't have to do that, Pearlie. It wasn't your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. Of course, I'm sad that my mother is gone. But, how do I say this? I'm still happy. You don't have to lie just to make me feel better. No, really. It's true. The only reason I'm still here at all is thanks to everyone who was there for me. Me. My sis, my mother, Mr. Armando, Nick, and you. If even one of you weren't there, I'm sure I wouldn't still be alive right now. That's why I have to be strong for all the people that were there when I needed them. That's all I can really do. Missing my, I'm impressed. You truly are the daughter of Mystic Misty. That is Sister Bikini. Your mother, Mystic Misty, was a strong woman indeed. I want to tell you what she said to me that night. After dishonoring the good name of Korean, I don't have the right to face my daughter. But still, Maya is always in my thoughts. It's true. She'll always be with me until the day I die. Your spirit was with her. That's why your mother was so strong. Even at the end, I'm sure she had no regrets. She'll always be with me until the day I die, huh? There's a rule or something all masters are to follow, isn't there? To never take the charm off until the day you die. That's the master's talisman. The thing that Misty kept by her heart and would never take off. It wasn't the container that was important. Rather, it was the contents. That's a photo? Mother. It's only natural for living creatures to fight to protect their own lives. But what makes us human is that we fight for others. But who do you fight for? How hard must you fight? That's the true measure of what human life is worth. We defense attorneys are warriors who are constantly challenged by that question. Pearl wasn't the first one to break it! Even when the battle is over and the bonds that connect us are severed, we always return, time and time again. Mia, Maya, Pearls, Mr. Armando, and Maya's mother too. I learned that from all of them. Well, shall we get going? Everyone's waiting. This is a day to remember. A day when a lot of things were finally put to rest. I think we should celebrate what we've overcome today. But I still can't. Oh, go on, sweetie. You can come back for training anytime. Okay. All right, I'm going to make a brand new start too. Sister Bikini, I'll be back for more training, I promise. I know, and I won't go easy on you just because you're the future master. I'll make sure to prepare reservations for 3 when you come back. All right, we're going to have a great feast today, Pearly. You know why? Because training is a battle of endurance. Okay, Mystic Maya, I'll eat lots and lots of food tonight. You know, there's one thing I don't get. Probably don't want to, but... What is it, Nick? Reservations for training is fine and all, but why for 3? Come on, what do you think? You're one of us, Nick. Next time you can train right alongside us. But I'll be waiting for you. Sister Bikini would take special care of you. But it'll be great, Nick. We're going to do the special course naturally. That's a great idea. After all, Mr. Nick, you'd do anything for Mystic Maya, wouldn't you? Even walk on hot coals, right? We'll have a nice big meal before we come next time. Right, Nick? You know, I was wondering if I can say just one little thing. Sure, of course you can. Oh, I love this part. I can't wait to hear it. I'm getting goosebumps too. Well then. Here goes nothing. What? What was that? I'll really have to work extra hard now. Master of Korean and the office manager of Wright and Company law offices. And I'll have to be a good big sister to Pearly and Nick too. Well, as long as I'm not locked up or captured or something like that. Auto-advancing text the entire way. This is going to drive me nuts. So it's true, Mr. Nick really is Mystic Maya's knight in shining armor. He went through the special course all the way to the end. Actually, I heard there's a legendary extra special ultra course here too. I think I'll surprise the 2 of them by making them a secret reservation. But I thought Nick was in love with, Iris. Maggie brought me a brand new coat as present, pal. I feel 10 years younger. I'll never take it off. Yes, but somehow you just don't see the thing. I guess a dirty, shabby old overcoat is just more detective light, sir. Don't worry about it. In the name of love, a man will soil himself silly. Aww, that's sweet. So they actually are together now. Mr. Wright, I am once again in your debt. Thanks to you, the Treasures of Korean exhibit was a great success. I even got to see Ms. Von Karma, who I hadn't seen for almost a year. She taught me how to use a whip and said that I must show you what I've learned. What? Oh, what? Dizzy and I started a company called Master Mass Consulting. We're dedicated to stopping the evil plans of all the criminals of the sea. Cut it out, please! Pretty cute, huh? Well, we also sell plans to the criminals as kind of side business, but I wonder if that's okay. Sometimes I think we're the worst criminals. I wanted to show my appreciation to Mr. Wright for exterminating Don Tigre, so I lent him $500,000 and a tea set. A special thick tea I mixed with my own 2 hands. I bet he's drinking it now. Win through compromise. He. Uh-oh.
I'm just old and in the way. A wrinkly, grumpy, clown-nosed waste of flesh. At least that's what I thought. Well, my grandkids had a birthday party ready for me the other day. Talk about embarrassing. 69 years old and I cried like a baby with a dirty diaper. Nah.
As usual, we have an abundance of work to do. We've hired a new programmer to replace Glenn Elg. I do hope everyone will get along. His name is Adam Mada. As soon as I heard his name, I knew our brain circus would align perfectly. She likes palindromes, I guess. Oh, Glenn Elg, duh. My, more reporters. Since the murder, we've made so much money. Well, what to do? I think the magazines like us because we provide such a nice blah blah blah. I can hardly wait for ours to come back. You've turned into such a respectable man, Feeny. It was so sweet of you and everyone else to come and visit me here the other day. Of course, I was very happy that you constantly had your eyes on me, but I felt kind of bad when the little one slapped you so hard you got a nosebleed.
Objection!
Yeah. They're actually giving the voice cast credit.
Objection!
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 What's this? I'm back from a long and tiring vacation and no one's here to greet me. I guess while I was gone, the little whippersnapper buddy quit and now I'm alone. What kind of lonely, crazy security room is this supposed to be anyway? What's with all the flashing lights and switches? I feel like some sort of space alien. And now what am I going to do with all these macadamia notes that I brought back for everyone? If I bring them over to Ichibu, I really can't accept these, I'm afraid. Alright, oh, then, what a fine gentleman. Rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat. Damn.
Thought I'd be able to get through this entire game without bringing her up again.
I finally found something I love to do. Francis Whippity Whip Trip is going to turn the art world on its head. I should have realized it sooner. Self-centered, lazy, antisocial. I'm an artist. A really good portrait artist. I'm not a loser after all.
Oh, that's pretty. Well, this was a very enjoyable game. I loved it very, 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 very much. I think the next game in the series that I have planned is in the franchise that I have planned is the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. But the next game is Danganronpa V3. Anyway, links and stuff. See you next time. This was way too long, but I'm putting it up as is anyway. Bye.